And the next profession that drug barons can easily go into is to run for elections or to put their boys to run for election. It's very possible. A lot of time, everybody knows that the most high-profile cocaine pusher, although he said he's not, was one time a senator that the American government was looking for. He was a senator till he died because Nigerian government protected him from being extradited to the US. I don't want to mention the name of the person, but everyone knows who the person is. And probably the reason why all of us knew about him is because the Americans were looking for him. There are a lot of hard drugs traffickers that are into politics. So many of them are in that National Assembly, but nobody knows so much about them because maybe either they're very few or that they're not quite prominent. But the next election is going to be a very tough battle, and there's a possibility that drug kingpins may infiltrate the electoral process. The reason why I said this is very empirical. The governor of Anambra State once told us that right now drug barons have found their way into politics, and I can tell you authoritatively that the next election is not going to be different. It will be a lot worse because you have a very tough person, the chairman of NDLEA that everybody knows, Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa. He has given the drug barons a very bloody nose. He has fought them very viciously, even though the laws fighting drug trafficking in the country is a bit soft. It's not very strict, unlike what you have in some Asia, some countries, in Malaysia, Indonesia, and most of these other countries in far east, where you have, even in Saudi Arabia, where you have very strict punishment, which I think Nigeria should adopt. Nigeria has to adopt death penalty for drug offenses because hard drugs has a chain of very complex criminal enterprises. It is drug that leads to a very serious problem of terrorism. It is drug that leads to kidnappings, or drugs make kidnappers to become much more hardened. Armed robberies, all sort of crimes are committed under the influence of substances and hard drugs. And Nigeria is a major transit camp for most of these hard drugs. But we are much more concerned about the influence of hard drugs in the politics of Nigeria. Then there was also a time that the chairman of NDLEA proposed what he calls a drug test for aspirants, and people kicked against it. We were in total support of that call by General Marwa and the NDLEA for a drug test for all political aspirants. We want the National Assembly, if possible. There is an ongoing amendment to the NDLEA Establishment Act. They have to include it there. You do not take them, it doesn't take rocket science to amend a statute. Amending the NDLEA Act is not as complex as amending the Constitution, and it's already before the National Assembly. We are in support of that proposal to make it mandatory for political parties to create the platform for the aspirants to be tested for drugs, because it's only somebody who is hooked in hard drugs behaviors and tendencies that will become, for instance, a governor or accountant general, and the person will corner as much as 100 billion to himself. Only somebody on drugs, it's only somebody who is on drugs will dip his hand into the treasury of the public and steal money that is meant for health infrastructures. Because virtually all the political office holders in Nigeria, their parents are here. Even if their children are in Europe or US, their fathers, their mothers are all in Nigeria. But these guys go in there, loot the resources that are meant to build health infrastructure, meant to build roads, that are meant to fight crimes, and they don't care even if their parents suffer as a result of lack of the health facilities, as long as their children, their wives and their mistresses are taken care of abroad. So we need to really get serious about fighting drugs.